Winston Hubert McIntosh, professionally known as Peter Tosh, was a Jamaican reggae musician born on the 19th of October, 1944, and died on the 11th of September, 1987. Along with Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer, he was one of the core members of the band The Wailers, 1963 to 1976, after which he established himself as a successful solo artist and a promoter of Rastafari. He was murdered in 1987 during a home invasion. Tosh started to make his own albums with Rolling Stones Records. CBS Records' Equal Rights followed in 1977, featuring his recording of a song co-written with Marley, Get Up, Stand Up, and a cover of Stepping Razor that would also appear on the soundtrack to the film Rockers. Tosh organized a backing band, Word, Sound, and Power. They were to accompany him on tour for the next few years, and many of whom performed on his albums of this period. In 1978, the record label Rolling Stones Records contracted with Tosh, on which the album Bush Doctor was released, introducing Tosh to a larger audience. The album featured Rolling Stones frontman Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and the lead single, a cover version of the Temptations song Don't Look Back, was performed as a duet with Jagger during Bob Marley's Free One Love Peace concert of 1978. Tosh lit a marijuana spliff and lectured about legalizing cannabis, lambasting attending dignitaries Michael Manley and Edward Seaga for their failure to enact such legislation. Several months later, he was apprehended by police as he left Scotland Dance Hall in Kingston and was beaten severely while in police custody. Mystic Man 1979 and Wanted Dread and Alive 1981 followed, both released on Rolling Stones Records. Tosh tried to gain some mainstream success while keeping his militant views, but was only moderately successful, especially when compared to Marley's achievements. In 1984, after the release of 1983's album Mama Africa, Tosh went into self-imposed exile. He was seeking the spiritual advice of traditional medicine men in Africa. He was trying to free himself from recording agreements that distributed his records in South Africa. Tosh had been at odds for several years with his label, EMI, over a perceived lack of promotion for his music. Tosh also participated in the international opposition to South African apartheid by appearing at anti-apartheid concerts. He also conveyed his opinion in various songs like Apartheid 1977, which was re-recorded in 1987, Equal Rights 1977, Fight On 1979, and Not Gonna Give It Up 1983. In 1987, Peter Tosh seemed to be having a career revival. He was awarded a Grammy Award for Best Reggae Performance in 1987 for No Nuclear War, his last record. On the 11th of September 1987, just after Tosh had returned to his home in Jamaica, a three-man gang came to his house on motorcycles demanding money. Tosh replied that he did not have any with him, but the gang did not believe him. They stayed at his residence for several hours and tortured Tosh in an attempt to extort money from him over the hours. As various associates of Tosh arrived to visit him, they were also taken hostage by the gunmen. The gunmen became more and more frustrated, especially the chief thug, Dennis Lepo Laban, a man whom Tosh had previously befriended and tried to help find work after a long jail sentence. Tosh said he did not have any money in the house, after which Laban and the fellow gunmen began opening fire in a reckless manner. Tosh was shot twice in the head and killed. Herbalist Wilton Doc Brown and disc jockey Jeff Free-Eye Dixon also died as a result of wounds sustained during the robbery. Several others in the house were wounded, including Tosh's common-law wife Andrea Marlene Brown, Free-Eye's wife Yvonne Joy, Tosh's drummer Carlon Santa Davis, and musician Michael Robinson. According to Police Commissioner Herman Ricketts, Dennis Lepo Laban surrendered and two other men were interrogated but not publicly named. Laban went on to plead innocent during his trial, telling the court he had been drinking with friends. The trial was held in a closed court due to the involvement of illegal firearms. Laban was ultimately found guilty by a jury of 8 women and 4 men, and sentenced to death by hanging. His sentence was commuted in 1995, and Laban remains in jail. Another suspect was acquitted due to insufficient evidence. The other 2 gunmen were never identified by name.